And we're live. What's going on? It's Noah here with Youngblood MMA. Today we'll be going over my picks and predictions for the prelims on UFC Riyadh. Yes, this is my part 2. If you want to see part 1, go onto my channel. It's right there. Can't miss it. I actually really like that video, so go ahead and check it out. Leave a like. Subscribe as well here. But we're going to start off at the bottom of the prelims. And we'll move our way up to the top. And I'm really excited. We got some good matchups here for the prelims, so... dude, I'm gonna be up at 5 in the morning for this easily. This won't even be a challenge, but we're gonna start off between Hamdi Abdelwahab and Jamal Pogues, and we have 5-0 for Hamdi, 11 wins and 4 losses for Jamal Pogues, and we see a 5-inch reach advantage for Jamal Pogues. That's gonna be substantial here. We're going to see how much that plays into the fight style between these two guys. But they're both, sort of coming off of a win. Abdelwahab, his most recent win, it was against Mays at UFC 277, and it was overturned. 2-0 contest. Apparently, he failed a drug test. So, what makes it worse is this is not even his first failed drug test. This is... multiple offenses, so they gave him a 2-year suspension. We haven't seen him fight since 2022. In my opinion, this is a perfect duration of time to blast as much gear as possible and make the most of a 2-year layoff and just improve your skills. And so I don't know if that's what he's doing. I haven't seen Hamdi since, so I don't know what he's looking like. I haven't seen any of his trainings. I'm just going off of his most recent fight from 2 years ago, and like I said, it's a long layoff. There's not too much info to make a clear call between this matchup. But, something I did notice is Hamdi does put a lot of heat behind his punch. He's got a lot of power, dominant wrestling. He's got great tosses. He's gritty. He's got that dog in him. And that's what's going to make him, a hard fight for Jamal Pogues here. He's faster. He's a bigger heavyweight. Hamdi has 5 wins, all KOs. Now we have to count, there were 2 pre-UFC fights that were bare knuckle, and so he's more 3-0. But really there's hardly any fight footage for Jamal to take advantage of. So it does put Hamdi at an advantage there. And this is going to be Pogues' 4th fight in the UFC as well. I think Hamdi just had that one, but this will be Pogues' 4th. And we're talking post-contender series. He was on the contender series. And Pogues has nearly triple the fight experience that Hamdi has. He's not too big for a heavyweight, but his body shape, he definitely has the body of Aunt Sally. He is definitely Jamal Hill's Pokemon evolution. And he had a fight against Thomas Petersen previously. It was his most recent performance, and it was rather underwhelming. They both looked kind of slow. Pogues was on his back foot a bit. He's a wrestler, but he seemed to have a hard time getting himself up from the ground. That's a concern considering he's going to be matched up with someone like Hamdi Abdelwahab. I thought Pogues had a much better performance against Mick Parkin, who he lost to, and he had much quicker jabs. He looked great in that fight, even though he lost. I almost think maybe he was sick fighting Thomas Petersen, who is actually also fighting on this card here. And here's what I think Pogues' game plan should be, right? When Hamdi switches from southpaw to orthodox, he needs to be stepping outside to the left and launch left hooks. That's what he needs to do. He needs to find areas where Hamdi leaves himself open, because that's where he's going to be slow to react. So he needs to do that. He needs to pressure forward. He needs to use his experience to outsmart Hamdi as well. A lot of fighters, they just don't really learn or retain much from their previous fights, and that ends up being detrimental in matchups with guys that are undefeated. But for Hamdi, based on what I see on paper in his most recent fights, he just looks so much better. I will be picking Hamdi to win via decision. I want to say KO, but Pogues has been able to handle the heat so far, so I think he's going to be just fine. A lot of even odds as I was overlooking everything. I picked a lot of favorites. But we're going to move on to the next fight on the card between Bogdan Grad and Lucas Alexander. Bogdan Grad, 14 wins, 2 losses. Lucas Alexander, 8 wins and 4 losses. And, and damn, can't talk. Okay, I need a sip of water. And Grad has double the experience in his debut coming off the Contender Series with a split decision win. And dude, I went and rewatched that whole episode. It's season 8, so the most recent season, episode 3 on August 27th. Split decision win. You don't see that every day where fighters get contracts off of, split decisions. Bogdan Grad had Dana White and Hunter Campbell up on their feet in a standing ovation. Let me tell you, they made sure that both fighters, him and, what was the name of the other guy? What was the name of that? Michael Aswell. They made sure they both got paid win show money and gave him a $5,000 fight bonus. That never happens. Absolute banger. Grad's on a 5-month layoff, 7 finishes in the first 2 rounds since 2020. Alexander looks good too, man. The only thing is he's on a 14-month layoff since his last fight. He got KO'd in round 1 against Saringa. And he's 4 fights in the UFC so far. 4 fights. No, this will be his 4th fight. This will be his 4th fight in the UFC. Most losses in his professional career came from submissions. So that's going to be his weak point there. That's going to be his soft spot. Alexander's got a 3-inch reach advantage, 3-inch height advantage. And he looks really good on the feet. Great range. Technical kickboxer. Very quick. Very quick. But yeah, the way to beat Alexander, you got to wrestle the guy. You got to grab him when he breaks the void. And Grad is just so much well-rounded. He's got a ton of heart, especially in that bout, like I said, in the Contender Series with Michael Aswell. Grad just keeps a high pace. He's got big cardio. And it's hard to, slow down a fighter that keeps a fast pace. And, we're going to see Alexander, we're going to see his pace pick up as well in that fight. And, if it does end up in the later rounds, we might see him peter out a little bit. But, dude, I was watching Grad and his arms just, seem to grow, as the fight progresses. I don't want to say anything, but, man, dude, he was, swole and veiny as hell. Didn't slow too much in later rounds. Was still landing head kicks, shooting for quality takedowns in the third. I just think this is a bad matchup for Lucas Alexander after being out for a year, over a year. Grad is hungry. I'm going to pick Grad to win by decision here. Next fight on the card, we have Jasmine Jasudavicius, 12 wins, 3 losses, coming against now former bantamweight Mayra Bueno Silva, 10 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. And Jasmine's on a 3-fight win streak right now. She's just making some good progress in flyweight right now. And you'll notice that Bueno Silva, she's fighting down a weight division. She had some recent back-to-back losses she suffered against at bantamweight. She lost a title shot against Raquel Pennington. She lost against, what's her name? Macy Chiasson. And, dude, that was a violent doctor stoppage, dude. Her face was splitting open, but it was a great fight. She has competed at flyweight earlier in her career. She might feel more comfortable at that weight class. New opportunities for her there, too, to climb the rankings at flyweight a little quicker. So, might be a little bit hard weight cut for her, but, has its advantages, definitely, going down a division to fight flyweights. Bantamweight's typically more competitive for the women's division. When she was in bantamweight, she had a good run. She had, 3 consecutive submissions. Lost clearly, again, like I said, to Raquel Pennington, and has that loss to Macy Chiasson. But Jasmine Jasudavicius, she's on a good run right now. She's underrated on the rankings for sure. I think she's ranked number 14. But she's in a good headspace coming into this fight. She's quick on her feet. She's quick on the ground. She won't easily give up her win streak. She's pretty determined. And I was picking Bueno Silva, initially, and I just switched after. I had to watch some fight footage, and sometimes you'll start to remember, styles, and styles do make the fights. But Jasmine, she just does look better everywhere. She looks more effective. She has more of a killer instinct. And Bueno Silva's wins recently have aged pretty terribly. You look at some of the records of the women that she submitted, and they're just on back-to-back losses. So they're not ranked. It just has not aged well at all. I think maybe they overshot her in the rankings when they put her at number 3 right before she No, this is even after she lost her title shot when she fought Macy Chiasson. And yeah, man, I just have a gut feeling that Jasudavicius, she's taking home the win here. I think it will probably go to decision. And that's that. But next fight up on the card, we have Terrence McKinney, 15 wins, 7 losses against Damir Hadzovic, 14 wins, 7 losses. Pretty close record. And McKinney's up with a 3.5-inch reach advantage. They're both coming off of a loss. McKinney's 5 wins, 5 losses in the UFC. And he's got a lot of potential, man. But the guy's chinny. He leaves himself open. He doesn't protect his face. He's got a tendency to get caught early on. He's got good wrestling, though, man. He's got really good wrestling. He's got hands. But he's risky, dude. The guy is a risk taker. All his fights have ended in a finish. All his wins and losses have only ended by finish. He has not gone to the decision in any of his pro fights. And then you got Hadzovic, right? Hadzovic, 4 wins, 5 losses in the UFC. And Hadzovic is less effective as his career has progressed. He has not fought since 2022. As we were talking about long layoffs, man, this is a long layoff. The guy was like 35 or 36 in his last fight, and now he's 38, and he's not great on the ground either. He's going to get caught quick, man. He's going to get caught real quick. I'm saying round 1 knockout for McKinney here. But going forward here, McKinney needs to be working on his defensive and controlled practices. It's already caught up to him, and he can't rely on getting easy matchups like these going forward. He's got to work on his defense. He's got to be more composed. I know he's got a really entertaining fighting style, but if he wants to make a career to where he's getting ranked, he needs to start racking up some consistent wins here. Next fight on the card, we got Shamil Gaziev, 13 wins, 1 loss. Thomas Petersen, 9 wins, 2 losses. And this is at heavyweight here. And you got Gaziev, right? The bigger guy, 3-inch height advantage, 4.5-inch reach advantage, both coming off of 1 win here each. Now, Gaziev is 3-1 in the UFC. His only loss came from Jairzinho Rosenstrike. Dude, I couldn't believe they matched him up with him so quick. And I was actually quite shocked that he made it till the 4th round before he got cleaned off. You know, variety of finishes. He's got decisions. He's got great pressure. He throws these heavy punches and kicks. And that's going to work in his favor here. Good accuracy. But that's where Thomas Petersen has advantage here. He's got like a 61% strike accuracy, 100% takedown accuracy, 57% strike defense. You know, technically, you know, Thomas Petersen's like, you know, really good in his technical striking. And then in regard to Gaziev, right, good chin, pretty durable at heavyweight. You know, like I said, it took Rosenstrike 4 rounds at heavyweight to knock him out. But he's got solid grappling skills, solid takedowns. But he is vulnerable to elite strikers who can outmaneuver and outland him. And that's where the fight will look really close between Gaziev and Thomas Petersen. I was looking at the odds and I'm like, dude, that's just too far apart. I think Petersen is going to look a lot better, have his moments in this fight more than people are predicting. And, you know, both fighters have near perfect takedown defense so far we've seen. Thomas Petersen, 2 wins, 1 loss in the UFC. Most KOs came from his LFA career. And last time Gaziev fought a southpaw, he subbed him on the Contender Series. So, like I said, we'll see how this plays out. Petersen more accurate, higher volume. Gaziev more power. You know, close fight. But I'm picking Gaziev by decision here. I think, you know, Gaziev's a bit faster. He's more durable. Even if he's less accurate, he might even find a KO in round 3 if he finds his jabs. Then we'll find out. We'll see how he looks on fight night. Next up on the card, this is the final fight for the prelims between Fares Ziam, 16 wins, 4 losses, and Mike Davis, 11 wins, 2 losses. And Ziam's got a 2.5-inch reach advantage here. Win streak with finishes in their last fights. Ziam, you know, he's got more experience. He's got more octagon time. He's got a lot of decision wins, too. He lost twice via submission. Overall, it's 6 wins, 2 losses in the UFC. But Ziam's a natural, man. I like watching him fight. He's entertaining, but he often makes the fight much closer than it needs to be. He doesn't need to let things go to split decision. He's got a killer instinct, but it's like a passive killer instinct. Like, he doesn't go to finish. He just thinks that it's just going to, like, happen. A finish is just going to fall in his lap, and that's not the case. And that's what makes Mike Davis different. You know, he's got some decisions, some KOs, some submissions. His one loss via submission was to Gilbert Burns, and then he lost on the Contender Series to Sadiq Youssef, and that's his 2 losses right there. Those guys, I mean, those aged really well. Those losses aged really well. That was 6 years ago. I'd say that's when like Gilbert Burns was like coming into his prime, just looking really good. And Davis is 4-1 in the UFC. Mike Davis, he's got good movements. He's more technical, more controlled. Basically what I was saying that Terrence McKinney should be working to improve on. And I think that's also a noticeable difference between Davis and Ziem. I think, Davis has a lot more control in his movements. He's more technical. He's got good volume strikes, 5 significant strikes per minute landed, and he's a better wrestler. He's a better finisher, and Ziem's going to have his moments here. He's going to have some good moments. This will be an entertaining fight, but I'm picking Mike Davis to win. I think Davis can lock in a submission here. I think, I don't know. I think he's going to finish Ziem probably round three. If he can, it's going to go to decision. At the end of the day, I'm relying on Davis's dedication to his craft, and I think that's what's going to make the difference in that bout. But that's the video for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more UFC content from yours truly, Noah with Youngblood MMA. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.